Hey Trey, how different a player are you this afternoon than a year ago this afternoon or 2 years ago when you left the Texas JUCO ranks?
I feel like I'm a completely different player as far as playing on both sides of the ball. Defensively, I'm definitely more. I've definitely have made bigger jumps in my game. And offensively, I just got more comfortable in using my experience to know the right reads and just play with more comfortability. Really.
And, and a question about learning to go from the JUCO ranks. You're not playing San Jacinto or Odessa Community College. You're playing Arizona and UCLA and big time. So what's that like from a JUCO player to come play at this level with so many other great athletes wearing the other guys' colors?
Definitely a big transition, a bigger stage. So, a lot more nerves sometimes, but definitely the intensity is just different. Like I said, defense is a big transition from JUCO, and so that's really it, the defensive side of the game.
And one other question for me. You're probably aware, obviously, of the rumors out of Minneapolis, St. Paul about Minnesota and Coach Dutcher. What's the sentiment of the players that maybe this week and next week might be the final time you play for the man?
Regardless, coach has already reciprocated to us that his focus is on us right now and the team. So, that's what our focus is at too. So we're just focused on the tournament right now and just making the best run that we can.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Lee. Let's go to Mark.
Um, Trey, in the last probably 4 or 5 games, you could probably make an argument you might be the team's MVP the way you've been playing. Even when you're not scoring, you had 8 assists the other night, controlled the game that way. What's changed in your game in the last month?
Like I was saying earlier, just being more comfortable, and with that, I've been in the gym getting reps, stuff like that, working on game shots. So really, just seeing it going in practice and seeing it going a few times in the game, it's just helped my confidence and helped make me more comfortable on the court. So really, just my confidence growing, and that's really it.
Um, when you came to San Diego State, you, Malachi Flynn was already there. KJ Fagan had already committed. You probably knew they were going to be the starting guards. Why did you decide to come instead of going somewhere where you might have gotten more playing time earlier?
I didn't know that. KJ was just gonna start any of that. I just came. Coach J recruited me. He told me there was 25 minutes on the table, so I just came in looking forward to trying to earn as much minutes as I can, and just knowing that I was going to a good program, so I would put the work in and just see how it goes and let God work.
In terms of next year, where are you on the decision for coming back next year, and what are some of the factors in that decision?
I definitely thought about it, but I haven't really thought about it too much to the point where I've decided or made a decision. Right now I'm just focused on the tournament, and just that's really it.
So you haven't allowed yourself saying, "Wow, if I'm playing the way I am right now, and I have the season to adjust to being a starter, how good could I be next year?"
I have as of late, most definitely. Anybody with dreams and aspirations is going to the NBA or wherever you want to go. If you feel like you're not fulfilling that this year, I don't see why you wouldn't come back. But for the most part, like I said, right now I'm just trying to continue to build on what I have been and continue to just make a good run in the tournaments.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Mark. Let's go to Paul.
Hey Trey, you said a couple of times that you're focused on the tournament that's in front of you. Well, what are you focused on specifically about this tournament coming up?
Just winning. That's it. That's what we want to do: win the tournament, and then make a big run. If not, try to win the NCAA tournament. So that's what it's about right now: winning.
And what are some of those keys to winning?
The same keys that we always have, which is playing good defense, and just playing our game. Really, just doing what we know we're capable of.
And then the games in the tournament, they're often very close, and they come down to a player making a play late. You've had a lot of success in those moments. Why do you think that you're that kind of player who can make that important shot towards the end of the game?
I think just because I'm comfortable in a late situation, like, I don't think too much on it. If I got the shot, I'm gonna take it. If not, I'm gonna dish it. And probably every team until I got to San Diego State. Every team I played on, I've been the guy to make the last minute decision or last minute plays. I had plays drawn up for me. So I'm kind of comfortable in those situations, and I just trust my instinct.
Hey Trey, how challenging is it to play 3 games in 3 days?
Very challenging, especially at this level. I mean, after every game, I mean, your body's beat up. I mean, it's challenging playing how we're playing now with a day in between is challenging. So, I mean, your body gets beat up, but, I mean, you just got to take the time to recover, get sleep, get treatment, and just, I mean, come in with a good mindset every day to work.
And not just for you guys, and maybe even noticing it for Utah State. Was that evident in that Saturday game last year that you guys' tanks were running kind of low once you get to that championship game?
Against Utah State?
Last year in the championship game.
I mean, at that point, I don't really think anybody's really worried about being tired once you get to the championship. I mean, you playing off adrenaline anyway. I mean, I think last year they just hit some tough shots. I mean, that's really it. When you have a guy go for 30, I mean, it's kind of, you know what I mean? He's hitting crazy shots. So, I mean, that's all it was last year.
Yeah, and not so much that being the difference in the game, but whether or not that was something that you kind of picked up on when you're on the floor. Did the feeling about, we obviously know what played out last season after the tournament. Did the feeling about that loss, how did that change once you found out you wouldn't have a chance to play again in the NCAA tournament?
I mean, it definitely was a big loss. I mean, we all wanted to win the tournament, so I mean, and not knowing at that point that the NCAA would be canceled. I mean, once the NCAA was canceled, I mean, it kind of hit like, I mean, we had such a good year. We had ended with a loss. I mean, we all would have loved to go in the tournament and make a good run and, you know what I'm saying, just prove ourselves. I feel like even last year, I mean, always, even this year, we had to prove ourselves all the time. So, I mean, last year we just wanted to go to the tournament and prove everybody wrong that's been talking about us. I mean, so that's really what it was.
Thank you, Trey.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Darnay. Let's go back to Mark.
Trey, as the season went on and more teams started to stay on the shooters and leave the middle of the floor open, did you sort of view that as an insult to you, that they were basically saying, we don't think this guy can beat us?
I mean, no, I never took it as that. I mean, because all the guys I got around me are good players and they all know it. I mean, I'm still building my name and still trying to create my own path. So, I mean, I never took it as disrespect. I mean, I appreciate it because it just let me play my game, making it easier for me.
And what exactly did you see? And you've talked a little bit about it before, but what exactly have you seen on the floor that's been different tactically that allowed you to play your game?
Really just scoring. I mean, once you start scoring, I mean, I'm a pass-first guard. I mean, I think everybody knows that by now. But, I mean, scoring has opened up a lot more, you know what I'm saying, situations where I can pass more. You know, it makes people commit to you. It just opens up a lot more options for me.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned your defense earlier. What part of your defense has changed, and where have you taken that big jump, and what kind of defender do you think you are now?
I think every aspect coming here. Like, I mean, coming here is rough for me at the beginning, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, just knowing where to be in gaps, how to guard your man, like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I'm a great defender, too. I mean, I think I'm one of the better guard defenders in the conference, too. So, I mean, Dave has done a great job with just developing my defensive game, my just defensive mindset.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Mark. Looking to see if we have any last questions. We'll go back to Lee Hamilton.
Hey, Trey, I just want to circle back to Coach Dutcher for a minute. 50-6 over the last two it's unbelievable. Nobody's doing that. What has made Dutcher's relationship with the players so good? How have you grown the most? Is it tough leadership? Is it understanding? Is it creative X's and O's? What kind of head coach has he been for you?
Just a real relatable coach. I mean, everybody wants to play for him. He's never a guy that you say anything bad about behind closed doors. I mean, he's just a guy that you want to come in and play for, and he gives you the freedom to do that. So, I mean, he gives you a lot of leeway, a lot of give and take. So, I mean, that's what you got to appreciate about him.
Hey, Jordan, you've been to the championship 3 straight years now. Does that kind of success in the tournament make it more difficult to look ahead and have like that one game at a time mentality?
Not really. That's just kind of what we do, one game at a time. We know you have to take it one game at a time to get to the championship, and just because we've been there the past 3 years doesn't mean anything, really. So it's a new year, and we're looking for a new outcome anyway at the end of the road. So it's a new year.
And then, you've had a lot of success late in the games coming up with big shots, and obviously this tournament, teams know each other so well. the games often come down to who makes the big shot in the end. Why are you so good in those situations?
I don't know. It's a good question. I think I just like the moment, you know. I like the moment, the pressure. I always had my whole life, and I think that's when basketball is just at its most fun. I always look forward to the end of the game. Um, I always have.
Thank you. Good luck in Vegas.
Thanks, Paul. Let's go to Mark.
Jordan, I want to ask you about Trey. How high of a level is he playing at in the last month?
Extremely high. Just being a floor general leader. I think teams try to sag off him, try to force him into shooting jump shots, and consistently he's been taking and making the shots he wants and getting to the paint, floaters at will, dishing, playing great defense. Just been playing at an extremely high level for us.
Is he one of the more underrated players in this league?
I think for sure he is. For sure. I think we have a lot of underrated guys on this team, and that's why we were able to be successful.
In terms of the conference tournament, San Diego State, and I asked Dutch this, it has been very successful getting to the final, but not so successful in that final. You've had last couple of years experience with that. Do you have any thoughts on that, and does that change sort of the motivation this year?
It's a game that we're familiar with, and it's a game that we just have to, it's a fresh start. We just have to get there first of all and then win. Just like we won my freshman year. Championship games is the highest level, and we always want to play there. And so we're not worried about the past and just worried about the opportunity. Focusing one game at a time. Obviously, you have to win the first two to get there anyways.
I know you guys, they're obviously on the other side of the bracket, but I remember earlier in the season after you played Utah State, you said something about, like another shot at them. Is that the team you'd like to play most in this tournament?
We'll play anyone that makes it, that plays us, makes it wherever our bracket takes us. We'll play anyone. That's my answer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Let's go to Darnay.
Jordan, how's your back feeling?
It feels great.
Can you give us a sense of just how challenging it is in your experience going deep in these tournaments? Have you noticed guys low on gas on both teams, just the way that's kind of wears on teams once they get to that championship game?
Yeah, I think you can be low on gas, but I think that this whole year has been difficult. We've been playing kind of essentially back-to-backs every series, so I think this year it'll be a little bit different. We've had kind of that experience playing, 3 games back-to-back is something that we haven't done all year, but it's the only time we'll have to do it, and so it's what's required, so we'll be ready.
Obviously, the loss last year was disappointing, but you knew what was ahead of you, or you thought you knew what was ahead of you in the NCAA tournament. Curious how that kind of impacts your outlook this time around, where once again you're in a situation where you don't necessarily have to win to get into the NCAA tournament, but how the feeling of last year, not being able to go out on a win, then having the NCAA tournament taken from you, kind of impacts your outlook on it this time.
I think, since last year, just the season ending like it did, me personally have always viewed every game this year that it could potentially be the last one, so I don't think that'll change. Going to elimination games, it's kind of how I've looked at it all year. So I don't think it'll be any different.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thanks, Darnay. Let's go to Lee.
Hey, Jordan, just a question about Coach Dutcher. 50-6 is absolutely amazing accomplishment. Is there some intangible with how he deals with you guys, what you guys take from him? I mean, aside from game plans as X's and O's, so what's it been like to play for a guy that's had this kind of success?
I think he just does a great job knowing people, knowing personnel, knowing, at the end of the day, we're all people, and he knows how to, talk to you a certain way, different guys a certain way. He gives you confidence. He doesn't take it away. I see some coaches, yell at players when that player doesn't like to get yelled at, and, it could take away the confidence. He never does that. It's very easy to play for a guy like that, and, I think the record speaks for itself, especially this year when so many uncertainties have been in play. To have the year that we've had, I think it speaks volumes to his leadership and coaching ability.